For those of you that haven't played Hex before, Hex is a fully digital... Hex is a fully digital TCG. Ooh, opponent's playing a mill deck, though, that's good against Lanupaw. So I think I'm going to replace this hand. This hand doesn't do a whole lot. This hand's sweet. So Hex is a fully digital TCG. Leverages some of the digital design space to have some mechanics that Magic can't quite do because it is a paper TCG. Why did we drop the 06 Dream was alive? So this Thunderfield Seer, for instance, is a really good example of a card that's possible in digital that would be basically impossible to track in paper. It's a 1/1 for 1 that basically has a delayed cantrip on it. So it uses a prophecy mechanic to give the next action in my deck the line of text draw a card. So the next action from the top of my deck is going to draw an extra card when we play it. So you can see this says it's prophesized, so it draws a card. So I don't have a second resource here. There are resources in your deck similar to Magic. So I'm going to Arcane Focus, which lets me look at 2. And we bricked. Well, that feels bad. Guess I'll take another Thunderfield Seer. Feeling bad about mulliganing the 4-shard start. This mills us a card every turn. So my opponent's playing a mill deck. So another thing that's different in Hex coming from Magic is that each player has a champion. In addition to determining your starting life total, each champion has an activated ability on it. Just gonna get to the next game here. So my opponent's champion for 4 charges lets them what's the word I'm looking for? It lets them give us a choice. Either we mill 5 cards or they get to draw a card, and our champion for 7 charges lets us draw 2 cards, which is, you know, the charges are something that the resources in the game give. So in addition to giving us a resource and a threshold or a color, the Sapphire Shard gives us a charge. So the champions with their charge powers kind of give us something to do when we're flooding out. Has PA always been in this deck? PA has not always been in this deck. Yeah, think of champions as Vanguard Magic cards is a good way to think about it. They don't affect your starting hand size like Magic Vanguards do, but they affect your starting life total. So the health totals on Hex champions range from 16 to 26 life. I believe that still exists in some iteration. Most of those cards are still legal. Sounds kind of sweet. So our opponent's deck is actually kind of good against our deck because we're using the Fate Weave mechanic. So what this resource does is it lets us pick resource or non-resource. And so I'm going to pick resource. So the next card we draw next turn is guaranteed to be a resource for us. And Mill is not a particularly popular archetype, but it does line up well against Fate Weave. But Fate Weave is kind of a nice way to use the digital design space to reduce variance a little bit as well. So you can see I can look at my opponent's champion. They kind of have a Punisher type mechanic. There's one 16 life champion, I believe, right? So we drew a resource as guaranteed. Violet's Caress is actually... No, I know there's a 26 life champion for sure, and I thought there was a 16 life one as well. You get to discard a card, drew a few too many resources, been one of those. Psychic Ascension is a card that it starts as a 15 cost, and you can see it says 14 here. The cost has been reduced a little bit. Every time we play an action, if this is in our deck or hand, its cost goes down by 1, so our deck plays a bunch of action and draws a bunch of cards. And then when we play this card, it changes our champion into a Paragon of Thought. And what Paragon of Thought does, it kind of turns us into a game of Momirvig for us. Paragon of Thought says whenever we play an action, we generate a random troop. So this is kind of like a big top-end finisher. It makes all of our spells generate win conditions for us, essentially. I'll put a non-resource on top of my deck. Assuming my opponent doesn't mill me, we'll draw a non-resource next turn. So again, we're flooding a little bit here, but when we get to 7 resources played, we'll get to create an Oracle Song to draw some more cards here. So flooding's not quite as bad as it could be in Magic, because we'll get to do something when we hit enough resources here at some point. Go ahead and Violet's Caress by opponent. Violet's Caress uses the Escalate mechanic. And what that does is the first Violet's Caress we play deals 1 damage, and now the second Violet's Caress is going to deal 2, and then it deals 3, and then 4. And eventually, when this deck combos, we draw through our entire deck and play Violet's Caress over and over and over again, dealing lethal to our opponent. Opponent has an Escalate card of their own. We also play this card. The first Bounty of the Magus draws 1 card, and then the second one will draw 2, third one will draw 3, etc. We haven't hit any of our critical massive draw cards kind of looking for. We're looking for like Heart's Whispers or our own Bounties of the Magus. I zoomed in on it. It talks about that. It does say it puts it back in your deck. But I guess that is relevant. Yep. First text match of the day. I'll play a couple. Bounty of the Magus in response. That's fine. I'm just going to play these out. I'm going to hold this other one in case they have a troop. This can deal damage to troops as well, so if they play a troop out that I want to kill. We're slowly ticking the Psychic Ascension down. So Runebind is kind of an interrupt style card. In Hex, there's a chain and you can respond to the cards your opponent's playing with quick action. This transforms a card in play or on the chain into a mysterious rune, which basically it delays the playing of their card or puts into kind of a stasis. So the card stays as this mysterious rune until my opponent draws a resource, then they get to replay it. Deploy, bury the top 2 cards, sure. Oh, and they milled 2 good actions, so hopefully there's more good actions underneath those. Heart's Whisper. So Heart's Whisper lets us draw Fate Weave and then draw 2 cards. So one of these is guaranteed to be a non-resource. Withering Gaze is decent. I think I'm just going to go ahead and gaze them. Since we look at their hand and take a non-resource, non-troop away from them. Bounty of the Magus. Yeah, that's fine. I don't really care about playtime. Cult of the Nameless City lets them draw 3 cards when they get enough cards in my bin. I have a Verdict of the Ancient Kings here, though. I guess the Verdict I can counter with my Runebind, so yeah, I'm going to take their Cult of the Nameless City away. Guess Theorize. Doesn't seem like I need this Transmog. And then we did hit our 7th resource, so next turn we're going to be able to play this Sapphire Shard and draw 2 cards. I prefer to bury 5 cards off my deck here, I think, rather than let them draw a card. They got 2 of my Violet's Caresses there. That's kind of scary. Yeah, Transmog's the expensive one. If you wanted to build a budget version of this deck, you would 10 out of 10 turn the Transmogs into something else. Probably Evaporates. Transmog's kind of like one of Hex's premium removal spells. Another Withering Gaze. Sign me up. Probably going to be able to stick the Psychic Ascension next turn. Yeah, it's a good thing we have the Psychic Ascension in our hand, right? Here you go. It's open. So, my opponent's casting Verdict of the Ancient Kings on this. I'm going to go ahead and Runebind their Verdict here. Which, again, turns it into a rune. And Runebinding an Interrupt basically means that they're not going to get it back. So, they have Morsels and Playtime. Oh, my wife is here and the door is locked. I'll be right back. I'm going to take the morsel there because I don't really care about the rest of the stuff in their hand. Just going to go ahead and pass. Are bugs at all relevant in this game as Magic Online? So actually, the only known bug I have that affects competitive play at this point is actually, you can see it. This game, you saw when my opponent put that Verdict of the Ancient Kings on the chain, it had the wrong artwork, but if I zoom in on it, it shows me the right artwork. It's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. I think I just want to jam this Psychic Ascension. Opponent had one draw to hit a piece of a Verdict or something like that. Sure, bury cards off my deck. Thank you, buddy. Oh, you brought food. You're the best. All right, and now whenever we play an action, we're going to, and you can see in the crypt there, it has the Withering Gaze artwork, but it's actually a Morsel of Madness when I zoom in on it here. And this has Withering Gaze artwork as well. I'm going to draw some extra cards here, and then they drew a resource, so that goes away. In general, their bug turnaround time has been pretty reasonable. I'm kind of surprised the Withering Gaze bug's been going on as long as it has. I'm going to let them draw a card at this point because we need to draw some cards to kind of work through our deck and play our card and generate enough troops with our Psychic Ascension to kill them. So I'm going to go ahead and play my resource and then hit my champion power here. There is a bug report on the forums. Runic Downfall. Put target card into its controller's hand. This is quick, right? Alright, so Violet's Caress you. Which generates a random 2-drop for me. Then I'm going to go ahead and Heart's Whisper here, which generates a random 3-drop for me. Tribunal Magistrate's a pretty good one. Now whenever my opponent plays an action, they're going to get some spiders in their deck. Oh, I guess they have a playtime in their hand. Hey, Uber Mikey, what's going on? So every action I play gives me cheaper and cheaper stuff. I'm going to go ahead and play this Theorize. Gives me another guy here. Runebind and Withering Gaze are perfect, so I'm going to go ahead and Withering Gaze my opponent. Hopefully they didn't find the interrupt, and I can take this playtime away from them. If they found an interrupt, they're going to interrupt this and then playtime this. Alright, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and take their playtime away here. And pass the turn here. They have a Massacre and a Hero Fall, but, like, I'm just going to generate more troops when I play more cards next turn. That kind of sucked. That was the card we wanted. That's a Massacre. I don't know what they're diamond for. Generate a random action here. And you can see my opponent's deck. Every time my opponent plays a card because of Tribunal Magistrate, their deck gets some spiders in it, which is good for us. Generate a random 3 cost. Alright, let's Withering Gaze you again here. Probably take your Hero Fall. It could be From the Ashes or Silver Talon. Those are both good guesses. From the Ashes is double diamonds. That seems a little ambitious to splash. Rune binding this Hero Fall so that way they have to recast it so we get more spiders in their deck. That's true. That stops anyone. Greed is good. Opponent disconnected, it looks like. Hopefully they come back. Hopefully it's not a rage quit. They did disconnect as soon as I rune bound, so like rune bound their connection. Hopefully they draw a resource to get reconnected here soon. This Deep Freeze is actually a randomly generated card. We're not playing Deep Freeze in our deck list. If you look at our deck list on the left side of the screen there, you can see all the cards we're actually playing. Oh, what's wrong? Alright, looks like they just had a little internet hiccup there. It was not a rage quit. Internet hiccups happen. Speaking as someone who has Comcast for an ISP, internet hiccups happen. So that turns into a Mysterious Rune. Then Withering Gaze. They have 2 resources in their hand. Okay. That's Arcane Focus. See what we get. Take that. That's Heart's Whisper. Draw two cards, at least 1 non-resource. I already played a resource this turn. This doesn't have any power, but this has a mechanic called Diligence, so every time it readies, it does something for us. So we're going to go ahead and attack with that so we get that effect. Transmog for Shackling Strands. That seems reasonable. A reasonable budget storm. Maybe I'll put together a budget storm configuration. That seems completely... You could probably shave money off on the resource base, too. This game is called Hex Shards of Fate. It is a fully digital TCG. I'm going to go ahead and play the Sapphire Shard out here. Put a non-resource on top of my deck. Gives us a charge for our champion power. Oh, what does this do? Oh, I get to tap something, sure. We need to go ahead and activate my champion power, get a random action here. Once per turn, when a Venom, create 8 spider eggs. Alright, so let's play this, see what we get. Got an Underworld Crusader, sure. I'm going to go ahead and Runebind their Cult of the Nameless City, so that way it doesn't mill us next turn. It also gives us a random 1-drop. Actually, maybe I want to wait. I want to wait and Runebind like a sweeper or something, right? Yeah, probably. Verdict of the Ancient King, sure. Now, the budget storm list is still probably going to be about $60 to $80. I could probably get it pretty cheap. I'll work on that this afternoon and add it to my budget deck list, because it's kind of a unique archetype that's kind of sweet. Alright. So we get a game. I did miss 1 damage on the Dread Technomancer, you're right. He's gonna go ahead and click submit, I think. They really don't have troops in their decks. These Transmogrifades seem pretty bad. Right? We haven't seen any troops out of them. I'll put Into the Unknown into my deck. Pick up their constants. Yeah. Yeah, you can budget Runebind, Transmog, and the Wells in the resource base. Syzygy's got to be a little bit of platinum. It is a rare. Hopefully they can't mill me this turn, and then my Fate Weave for an extra resource here will be good. This mills me at the start of their turn, right? Yep, sweet. And we're gonna get to Into the Unknown that. Sign me up. Withering Gaze my opponent a couple times here. See what they got going on. Morsels of Madness and Massacre. Alright, well, I'm just going to take these morsels away, I think. And I'm just going to be resource efficient this turn and take the other one. It's like... And something to note about Withering Gaze is the card I'm taking out of their hand actually goes into our deck, so we have 2 extra cards in our deck from these Morsels of Madness now. And Into the Unknown this, so Into the Unknown returns that card to their hand, and then it transforms it into something else with the same shard. So they have a random different Sapphire card in their hand now, hopefully not one that hoses us, and it takes all other copies of that card in their deck, so there are now no more Cult of the Nameless City in my opponent's deck. They have 4 other random Sapphire cards instead. We'll bury 5 cards here. I'm getting Theorize here to start, see what we get. I'm gonna that for now. We're looking for a resource. Blood Threshold. Yeah, if Hex supports Immortal in the way I think they will, it'll end up being pretty reasonable. Transmog will be an expensive card long term. Alright, so I'll lead on Heart's Whisper here. Looking for a resource. Oh, we're so lucky we hit a resource. I'm gonna play this out. I think I'm just putting another resource on top of my deck at this point. That way I'm not too sad if they mill it over, but I wouldn't mind drawing a 7th so we can hit our champion power on time. Ideally, we want to try and find a Withering Gaze or a Runebind to help us fight through some counter magic on our Psychic Ascension. Thunderfield Enchanter. So you can see here in the upper left-hand corner, this was originally a Cult of the Nameless City. Prophecy, the next troop in your deck gets Spell Shield, so they have a 4/5. Get at least 1 non-resource here. Sweet, another bounty. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and bounty now while it's guaranteed to resolve. Makes the rest of my bounties draw more cards later. Chill. Draw Theorize here. And again, I don't think I want to just jam... Well, we know 2 of the 3 cards in their hand are Massacres, actually, right? So maybe we're jamming the Psychic Ascension next turn. It might be right to just make them have it. And by that, I mean they're taking it away from us. Alright. Did I board in my 2nd Ascension? I did. I'm smart. Gosh, I'm smart. So you know their last 2 cards are Massacres here. Go ahead and bounty the Magus here. That's the Morsel of Madness that has a graphical bug. Put a non-resource on top of my deck here. Then pass the turn. We're looking for get a Syzygy going so we can actually get our combo. Maybe we'll actually combo kill them this game instead of winning with PA. Alright, that's the other Morsel of Madness. Let's play Heart's Whisper to start here, see what we get. Again, we know their last 2 cards are Massacres, so we kind of just get to do whatever we want. Go ahead and play Theorize, bin one of these Morsels. Man, we are flooding hard. I'm just going to go ahead and Enchant Power and draw 2 more cards here. Alright, so there's a Syzygy. I'm going to bin this Morsel. I'm going to bin some of these resources. So we have Syzygy here, so that means if we hit a bounty of the Magus, we could possibly combo. Gosh, I think I'm supposed to let them draw here. Our deck getting kind of small. Another Into the Unknown, that's sad. There aren't troops in my opponent's deck. My opponent's deck doesn't really have troops in it. They only have this troop because I transformed a Cult of the Nameless City into it. Man, we're just gonna die to this beating us down, aren't we? If they have an interrupt, they might interrupt this, which is why I'm leading on it. Just gonna play both of these out. Pass the turn here. We need to draw a Bounty of the Magus so we can draw a bunch of cards and then combo them. Do we have all our bounties in our deck? Oh, we're actually down one bounty. We're down one bounty and 2 caresses. Oh, lordy. So that's going to go off next turn. It's a good thing we have Into the Unknowns here. Well, we brought it into the Unknowns. Verdict, sure. So next turn we'll gaze before we play this other Into the Unknown. They have 2 Massacres and then 1 card we don't know. Hero Fall, sure. Hero Fall is actually decent for us. And go ahead and put that in their hand. I guess I could Runebind this. I'm going to take one more hit from this before I Runebind it. Hopefully we just draw Bounty and then combo next turn. That's funny, they got a speed troop. Yep, I agree, Waffle. It's probably hard for us. That being said, if we hit Bounty the Magus, we're favored to win here. Another resource. Aren't a lot of those left in our deck. Oh, I should have Runebounded this earlier. Because if they drew a counter, they could counter this and then kill us. Alright, dead to a verdict. Alrighty. Bounty of the Magus dealer one time. Another Runebind, sure. Let them draw 2. I'm going to Runebind this. There's their Bounty of the Magus and 40 cards. We have 20 cards. Can we draw Bounty of the Magus? How many cards are our bounties drawing at this point? Is it just 2? It might only be 2. It's 3. Okay. Yeah, drawing 3 with a bounty should let us snowball. That's a Hero Fall. Okay. It's a little bit late. Please don't draw a resource. Oh, I guess this one only draws them 1 card at least. And then Cult of the Nameless City is going to draw them 3 cards. Because we have 20 or more cards in our discard pile, so probably a favorite to lose from here on out. I got really excited when we drew a Verdict. I was like, oh, wait. Oh, wait. That's actually not good for us. Sure. So we lost a bounty, a Theorize, and a resource. Sure, yep. Draw your cards. I agree. I think this matchup is oddly bad for us. There's our Psychic Ascension. We can actually win through Psychic Ascension pretty easily if they don't have a Verdict here and we hit a Bounty of the Magus and we get to combo. So, big bucks, no Verdict. If they have a counter, we'll just concede. We could also just not draw Bounty too. Just draw another Shard. Focus, could be anything. 13 cards, 2 bounties. Sure. A PA mirror match. If they have a Verdict, this is getting a counter. Wow, they don't. Okay. So you're saying there's... It generated a random hero fall. Okay, sure. That also looks like Verdict of the Ancient Kings. What a weird... I thought it only affected the ones... Oh, this mills us 2 cards a turn. There's another Violet's Caress gone. So we have 1 Caress left in our deck. And 2 bounties. Yeah, we probably can't win anymore, actually. Alright, they milled us out. Good beat. Alright. I think the deck my opponent's playing is probably pretty bad in general, but it's kind of uniquely well positioned against us. Can you explain how we combo? So, the combo works with the cards Syzygy and then Bounty of the Magus and Violet's Caress. So, Violet's Caress does 1 more damage every time you play it. And what Syzygy does is every time you play an action, it makes all actions with the same name cost 1 less. And Violet's Caress and Bounty of the Magus put themselves back into our deck after we play them. So, Syzygy eventually makes Bounty of the Magus and Violet's Caress free. And we Violet's Caress our opponent a bunch, and then we Bounty the Magus and draw a bunch of cards, then we Violet's Caress them again, and then we Bounty the Magus and draw a bunch of cards. We just loop that until they die to the Violet's Caresses. Do 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 do. I actually don't think the Escalate deck is bad in general, Burgle. I've been winning against the mid-range decks, and I actually think Dread End goes a long way to solving the problems we had in testing, and Cheap Shot's been much better than Exarch against the Ruby aggressive decks. I feel like I'm reasonable to win a game on the play against the Ruby decks, and things just have to break kind of my way a little bit when I'm on the draw. Waiting to queue, waiting to queue, hi-ho the chariot, waiting to queue. Ah, good. We got some Winter Moon deck. This should be a good matchup for us. Seems pretty reasonable. I think I want to just guarantee my resource drops here, so I'm going to put another resource on top of my deck. Hitting my first, like, 5 or 6 resources in this deck is pretty important on average. I really don't like this battle board. It seems kind of bland. Okay, Irk. Okay, Irk. Okay. Okay, with the brand new subscribe subscription. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Subscriptions are the best way you can help support my content here. Welcome. I do appreciate it. And cosmetic items are obviously purely subjective, right? So, like, if I like or dislike a battle board and you enjoy it, you know, more power to you. I'm just not a fan of this one personally. I really like the Wizard battle board. So my opponent's champion power takes 2 cards from their discard pile and flips them back into their deck. And the next time my opponent draws those cards, they'll have the line of text draw a card on them. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Are you here for the hexing, or are you one of my Magic folks that's stayed and hung out? I'm going to go ahead and play Lanupaw Sight here, and Lanupaw Sight's a triple prophecy card, so the next action, resource, and troop in my deck get when I play this draw card. So basically, it's a delayed draw 3 for 3. Okay.
Some of his games, I put 4 games on it, some of them have ads.
Okay.
So he might get stuck in an ad, but also try to just notice if he's doing anything in my Google account.
Okay.
Like email or...
You know you can log in. You know you can log into a guest account, right?
But I can't download apps without a new Google account.
Oh.
You need a Play Store account, and I don't have time for that.
I'm doing things backwards. Yeah, Magic Online is an interesting beast. They're actually a mill deck too. What a tilt is that? They're actually another mill deck, which is really good against our prophecy stuff. We're gonna theorize here to try and draw a prophecy card, which is exactly what we did. God bless. I already played my resource for the turn. That's bad. I'm gonna wait a turn to play this because I want to be able to draw a card immediately after I prophesize, since they're milling anyways. I actually already updated my budget hex deck list, CW. Updated them yesterday, in fact. I'm going to actually add a budget storm list to that article later today. Because people have been asking. This deck is sweet, and it's a sweet archetype, and people have been asking about it, so. Play this, try and draw my Prophesize card right away before my opponent mills it. We were successful in doing that, God bless. Let's go ahead and... Oh, I should bounty the Magus later. They have counter magic up here. This was loose. This is a quick action. And it's prophesized that I like really want this to resolve. Oh wow, they don't have it. Deal. Good stuff. While my opponent takes their turn, I need to change Jake's diaper really quick, so I'll be right back. Thanks for hanging out, folks. Don't go anywhere. Waffle, I disagree with you. I haven't looked at everything on the ladder results, but based on the results from the CCS, there really aren't a ton of decks. Like, even the Mono Ruby deck this season has a lot of mythics and stuff in it. Feel free to post your own shit, but I think all of the... I don't want 100 deck lists on there. I want it to be kind of concise. Go ahead and Heart's Whisper here. Hit at least one non-resource. I want to Theorize. I think I'd rather Theorize than Focus here. It's more resource efficient this turn. Lets us bin one of these extra shards here, potentially. Hopefully we get to the Psychic Ascension soon enough. Well, I don't actually think the Constance decks are that competitive. And I don't think like the goal of that article is to be like moderately competitive and like have reasonable upgrade paths to fully competitive decks, and I don't think either of those decks you just mentioned are reasonably competitive. The goal is to be competitive budget deck lists. If the goal is casual budget deck lists, I'd agree with you. Those decks are probably fine on average. But with the goal being competitive budget deck lists, I don't think either of those decks are competitive. Even the non-budget Goot deck we worked on seemed really mediocre at best. Like, the only Constance deck I've played and constructed this season that feels actually, like, actively good and competitive, like, involves Zenthos, Malice, and a bunch of other things that aren't budget at all. Take another Runebind here. Focus again. Maybe I could wait on this focus and just ditch this Well of Cunning here. You're gonna deny this. Yeah, it's fine. I'm actually just gonna bounty in response here. Pick up 2 cards. Yeah, we might combo off this game. Oh, you have a Runebind for my bounty. That's sad. Okay, I mean, that means we don't have to discard this turn, which feels good. And we have Runebinds to protect our bounty when it comes off again next turn. That's cute. They're taking my Mysterious Rune, sure. Your opponent gains control of the targeted card. You have my bounty in the bag. I'm going to resolve the Psychic Ascension and bury you. Put a resource on top of my deck because this is going to mill me anyways. Bleed out, sure. Worth noting that this Transmogrifade is actually going to make a copycat with Psychic Ascension, so we want there to be a good troop in play when we play this Transmogrifade. We're Pipit hustlering my Syzygy. Huh. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. That actually makes my Psychic Ascension a lot better. Like, so Psychic Ascension with Syzygy actually isn't a combo. Like, your opponent, our cards get cheaper and eventually they stop making things. So, like, the backup PA plan is, like, a little medium sometimes because of that. Oh, yeah, you're right. That is how that sequence is. Now it's gonna work the way I talked about it. Alright, bleed you out. Sacrifice a troop. And again, I think I'm actually not going to play the Syzygy out because I want my cards to have casting costs at this point. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this. Get a random 3-drop, a little bit more power. Start of your turn, you may transform target troop you control into a warbot. That sounds good. Oh no, they milled over my Violet's Caress. That's mean. Did I miss a Papa Goot deck that got 18th? '18th was 5-2, right? Why did they just play? Oh, they just want to draw a card, try and hit a resource? I guess you could budget the removal in that deck, the 18th place deck, but like without, I guess it's not playing From the Ashes main even. Maybe that deck is fine. The Psychic Ascension backup plan has been more the primary Ascension day with the decks that we've been playing against, so we're more likely to Storm combo against decks like what our opponents have been playing against controlling decks as opposed to what we've been playing against so far. I get to draw 3 cards, sure. I have to discard a bunch. Oh, it lets them redo this. Yeah, that's fine. They'll have to discard a bunch here. Because their hand is full, so, like, it isn't actually a draw 3. It's like a draw 3, discard 3. It's not that powerful. Also, what does Twilight Archon cost, dollar-wise? And Radiant Physician. Probably fine. Then I'm gonna go ahead and dingle this. They get a 0/1. We get a random 2-drop. You get to see all the actions our opponents hit. Double playtime, lullaby, deny. We get to turn this 0/1 into a 3/3 with a reprocessor here. Radiant Physician's like $1. Yeah, that Constance deck's probably fine. I might include that. Cut the Hero Falls from the Ashes. I'm going to add the Storm deck, so maybe I'll add that too afterwards. I'd love to activate this and make this a 3/3. Archon is 300. Yeah, that's still not bad, though. It's like it's a deck in like the sub $50 range. Astral Sight. 6-drop. Yes, please. Draw 3 cards. Yes, please. I like that we got the uncommon duels back, too, because a lot of the ways you can budget these decks is just, like, turn wells into the budget duels. Actually have budget duels. We didn't have those last time around. I think I'm just bidding Syzygy here. So, I had someone else ask me about the Redlings deck. Redlings is actually just a tier 1 deck. There's no budget considerations in that Redlings deck. The only reason I include Redlings at the end there is because I often link Magic players to that article. They're like, alright, what if I just want to buy a really good deck that's reasonably cheap? Like, $100 is cheap to a Magic player. Cheap is a relative term. So, like, if I link a Magic player to that article and they go, alright, I want the tier 1 deck, it's like, alright, pick the last one on the list here and you'll be fine. Alright, so we know they have a Lullaby in their hand. I think I want to look for another Runebind here. Do I have another Runebind? I've got one. I've only used one Runebind so far. So yeah, so let's Heart's Whisper and try to find that other Runebind here so we can fight over this Lullaby. I agree that amount of money is not terribly cheap for a Hex deck. It's just like on par for like what competitive Hex decks cost, basically. So we're going to try and push through lethal this turn. If we find another Runebind, we're pretty likely to do that. And we did, so let's attack with everything here. There's nothing in there. So that's a Lullaby from the Graphical Bug. Let's go ahead and Runebind this. And then we have another Runebind to fight. And then there's technically a third Runebind hiding in our deck too here. So if we need another Runebind, I think I'm actually supposed to Runebind this because my opponent could have double deny here. Yeah, sweet. Alright, so we get to bring in... I'm going to cut the Lanupaw sites because they're a mill deck, and I'm going to bring in Withering Gazes. I'm going to bring in this extra thing. I think I'm just going to bring in the End of the Unknowns again here. Transmog doesn't seem particularly good. Do you need help? Say help, please. Alright, let's play the Storm deck, get 2 mill matchups. The backup Psychic Ascension plan is real good. Yeah, Into the Unknown is just like a flexible answer these shards were missing. Just like being able to answer constants in these shards is so busted. It's pretty reasonable. Don't play Cult of the Nameless City. God bless. Alright, so next turn, we'll go Sapphire into Seer, I think, and then the following turn we can Theorize to dig to our Prophecy card before it gets milled over, hopefully. Nice! Need help? Where are the games on here for you, buddy? Oh, you were on new user. There's your games. Sorry about that. I'm getting some setup for Declan on his thing. Ooh, that's a really good draw. I'm still going to play this and then play Theorize this turn, I think. Declan, you have to be patient and wait half a second, buddy. It's going to be ready in just a second. I know, waiting's tough. Here you go, Declan. Declan. Get our licks in here. I've seen a few ramp decks on the ladder. Ali Andrazi posted that he'd been working on a ramp deck recently. Lanupaw site. Okay. I think I'm just going to Violet's Caress them next turn. Let's put a non-resource on top of my deck. And then I'm going to make sure this Violet's Caress resolves by just doing this now. It's prophesized, so it draws me a card when I play it, so that's pretty important to me. I need to sit down and fully farm the CCS results. I haven't looked at all of them yet. Like, I missed this Constance deck that's probably pretty reasonably priced. Got a lot of card draws in the bank here. Probably going to Heart's Whisper this turn. We want to kind of stockpile a critical amount of interactions, so that way we can force through the Psychic Ascension. Between Withering Gazes and Runebinds, I feel like we're a favorite in this matchup to make Psychic Ascension work. This is not the prophesized one. So go ahead and play this. I think I'm taking a resource with this just to guarantee we hit it. Sweet, we only hit one more resource, that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and play this Arcane Focus, looking for like more Withering Gazes to like accelerate to this Psychic Ascension, and Runebind is good too, lets us interact with their counter magic. Next turn we can play this and guarantee a resource for the following turn. Yep. Let's start milling us every turn. Lead on Violet's Caress here. Can Runebind interaction. Confounding Ire. Okay, so we're gonna Runebind this, which basically just gets rid of it. They're Runebinding my Runebind, that's fine. I'm gonna re-Runebind their Confounding Ire. What a chain. Hashtag Hex Chains. But when my Runebind comes off, it's going to be able to take their Cult of the Nameless. So they have a Deny and another Confounding Ire. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Deny out of their hand, because that's the one that interacts with Psychic Ascension here. I'm going to go ahead and play this out, and I'm going to put a resource on top of my deck, because it's going to get milled over by this Cult of the Nameless City next turn. Then I'm going to play this Thunderfield Seer out, so that means hopefully we'll draw the Prophesized card next turn. So even though Cult of the Nameless City kind of messes with our Fate Weaves, we could still kind of Fate Weave to get some selection of cards that we don't want in our deck anymore. Jacob Jeffrey, do not shriek. You're very loud. Sweet. Alright. Play that. They didn't have an interrupt last turn. If they have an interrupt, they're playing it on this, so that way that means like Psychic Ascension is more likely to resolve it on the line. Maybe I'm supposed to bait on a Brown Fox Scout, sure. Maybe I'm supposed to bait with this other Bounty of the Magus just in case they drew something. They hit a Deny. That's awkward. That feels bad because we lost the Prophesized one. Now, yeah, I think I should have led on this other Bounty of the Magus. God, and they hit another one? Man, that sucks. So now we only have 2 bounties left in our deck. I'm glad we have the Psychic Ascension plan. Like I said, we haven't actually comboed anyone with this deck today. We've just been on, like, the Turbo P8 plan, which is good in these control matchups, so I guess we shouldn't complain too much. So if my opponent attacks with this, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with Violet's Caress, and then we can block and trade with it. We know they have a Confounding Ire in their hand, so that means they can counter this Violet's Caress if they want. So we'll do this before we block, so that way if they counter this, we won't block. And they did. If we hit a resource next turn, we get to play the Psychic Ascension. Even if it's a slow shard, we'll still get to play it out, because this Mysterious Rune will cast if we hit a slow shard, which will make this cost 5. Kids Noise is bonus stream content. God bless you. I'm glad you feel that way. Occasional shrieks are kind of cute, but we can also focus into a resource and cast this turn. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and play this out, and I'm gonna go ahead and bounty and try and hit it right away. And again, if they hit another counter here, like that, they'd rather they counter this than counter this, almost certainly. And, like, now this is castable next turn regardless of what we draw. Man, I cast a Cabal Therapy that was blind during the Legacy Challenge yesterday, and blind hit 2 cards out of 3 cards in their hand. I audibly gasped. I was just like, it's been a while since I've had an audible gasp, but it was just like, and we missed on the Prophesized card from this, and we missed on a resource. This is statistically going to mill the Prophesized card, which kind of sucks. At least we could double up out of here next turn. Waiting for the opponent to do. This is game 2. We are up a game. We have one main deck Ascension, and we were able to ascend in game 1 and then win through those means. Ascension is so good in these controlling matchups. They try and go heavy on the disruption. We have like enough disruption that we can usually force through. We're going to Pipit Hustler one of my Thunderfield Seers. Or Pipit Hustlering my Runebind, sure. Oh, that turns into a pouch because it turns into a random one-drop. That makes sense. Ooh, they didn't mill my Prophesize card. They hit another Thunderfield Seer. That's sweet for us. Snapping the double block on here. Why back on Dreaming Fox? Because I cut the Starcaller Ancient, and I think without Starcaller Ancient in the deck to make the cycle from that champion being valuable early, I think on average we don't need to hit our Prophecy cards right away, and the +4 health from Dreaming Fox is exceedingly relevant to a lot of the more difficult matchups, so you actually have a chance against the Ruby aggressive decks by having +4 starting health. I am 10 out of 10 just windmill slamming this. Please, please, please. Ding. Put an action, artifact, constant, and resource from a troop into your hand. Ooh. Ooh, that's really good. Oh, that's terrifying. I'm glad we're going to have a bunch of blockers here in a second. Oh, I can Palaberry Pouch this. I think it's worth Palaberry Pouching this. Otherwise, this makes a bunch of things that mill us out. This does 2 and has Escalate on it. Lost in Time. Deal. Let's Lost in Time that. Let's Theorize. We're going to ditch the Syzygy at this point. Major resource. Sweet. So we can hold this Runebind up. I'm going to put another resource on top of my deck because I would like it to mill to Cult of the Nameless City. Yeah, and this will make Rylith, right? Just like Something Borrowed, this always makes Rylith because he's the only 5-cost Blood Sapphire troop. Opponent gets to draw some cards. Means they get to replay that other guy that they just drew. Probably Runebind it. That's unfortunate. They had an Arcane Focus, so they got to draw off this right away. Oh, I guess I should have let this resolved and end step Runebound it, right? This doesn't have a come into play effect. So that's a mistake on my part. Definitely messed that up. Oh, geez. If we draw a Shard next turn, we can Nameless Truths and then Violet's Caress to kill this because the Rylith trigger will be in effect. I'm just gonna take it for 3 here. God, a non-slow Shard would be so insane. Ding! Fries are done. So, the only troop this could make is one that gives my opponent's troops basically links all of them. So choose an action. I would like this prophesized one. A constant. A resource. Oh, this could get me a resource too. So we were guaranteed to have a resource there. Sweet. So we didn't even have to get lucky. We were guaranteed to have the resource. And then we kill this, which kills all of their things, because they were linked by the Rylynth. Oh, baby. What a good turn. Was that turn good? If so, why? Can anyone please explain for us? Yeah, pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin. Alright, let's try and queue one more. Hopefully we don't find a mill deck and we can actually combo kill someone by drawing our entire deck. I think this hand's fine. We kind of want a Syzygy with it early, but we've got 2 Transmogrifades. Opponent's playing Bishop Allies, which is usually like a mid-range aggressive deck, so Transmogrifade's pretty good in this style of matchup. I think I'll take a Runebind, so another piece of cheap interaction. I would have 10 out of 10 taken a resource there if we could have hit it, but we already have 1 Heart's Whisper, so I don't think we want a second right now. What does that troop that you got from the action do? It's a 5/5 flyer for 5 that gives all of my opponent's troops soul cursed, which means if one of them die, they all die. I think he's talking about the dragon, Rylynth. Shard. Syzygy. Shard. Syzygy. Shard. Syzygy. Today, about 100%. That's another bounty. Alright. Well, if we get a resource next turn, we'll be in a pretty good spot. Especially if it's a non-slow shard. We just, like, get our Heart's Whisper going and propel us into more. Otherwise, might be in a little bit of trouble. We stumble here. Let's see how aggressive their draw is here. If they play, like, a Righteous Outlaw, we'll tend to be Transmogrifating that. Yep, Ruby Diamond Dart, it looks like. Yeah, Righteous Outlaw me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Come on. Come on, give me a resource. Any resource would be fine, but specifically a non-slow for this Heart's Whisper would be insane. Ding. Perfect. And this will put another resource on top of our deck, so we're guaranteed at a resource next turn. I felt so old the other day. I do math tutoring on occasion for high school and college kids, and I made a Pretty Fly for a white guy reference to this, and this kid was, I don't know, 16 or something. He had no idea, just never heard the song before. I was just like, oh lordy. I'm gonna go ahead and Runebind this one so my opponent doesn't generate a Valor here. Just use our resources for the turn. Runebinding non-speed troops is ideal. I'm gonna go ahead and Heart's Whisper here, guarantee us a non-resource. I'll go ahead and use this and guarantee a resource on top of our deck. Now, Fate Weave is so powerful. You just get so much selection going. There might be merit to playing the bounties first there. But, like, getting a critical mass of interactive spells is good. If he misses on a resource for the turn, they never miss on a resource for the turn. So, sometimes Runebind delays them more for a turn if they don't draw a resource right off the bat. But, never lucky. At least this can't attack this turn, I suppose. So they get 1 Valor here, and then I guess I can Runebind it again next turn if I really wanted. Or Transmogrifade it, perhaps. If they have a Heart of Embers, I probably need to Transmogrifade that. Ardent Crusader, sure. This is probably Runebind Transmog. We'll start by casting Bounty Magus. Hopefully we hit a non-slow resource here. Sweet. So yeah, so we'll cast Bounty first. The first one draws us 1 card. The next one will draw us 2 cards. Lanupaw Slight's a little clunky in these more aggressive matchups. I'm going to go ahead and pass the turn here, I think, and just Transmog and Runebind this turn. Crusader is Fate Weave socket. Do they have a Heart of Embers? If they have a Heart of Embers, I'm probably Runebinding that one. So, Runebind here, Transmog here. Hopefully take some amount of power off the table. We might be at a high enough life total that we could still win this game. If we had like a Caress here soon, we could kill the Valiant Escort and be in a reasonable spot. They didn't play a Valor pre-combat here. That being said, their troops are fairly large, so depending on how this goes... we took 2 power off the table, it's pretty good for us. I think I'm just supposed to bounty next turn as opposed to Lanupaw's Sight. Lanupaw's Sight is slow, whereas the bounty gives us cards right now. Intrepid Conjurer, that's 10 out of 10 getting the Valor. Gets to double. Really need a Violet's Caress here. I think we're going to lead on Arcane Focus and then Theorize. We can ditch this Lanupaw's Sight to the Theorize. I think I'd rather have the resource right now. The Syzygy's not going to help us make an impact until a turn from now, and this could possibly make an impact now. Alright, we'll bin that, and then we're taking a pretty big hit this turn. We need them to not draw a resource this turn, so that way they don't get a bunch of Valors and go super wide. Alright, I didn't draw a resource. God bless. Hopefully it's not a Heart of Embers. Ardent Crusader, sure. So this is probably going to put a resource on top. Now I kind of wish I had the Syzygy, but I guess if I took the Syzygy, I wouldn't be able to play a 3-drop this turn. Oh, Fate Weave powered that up. It's pretty bad for us. So this is 10, 11. We're exactly dead to Lasgar's Vengeance here. Feels bad, man. They always have the Lasgar's Vengeance. Come in, just fucking play it. Yep. Womp, womp. Does this deck want Fogs? I mean, this deck would love to play Fogs, but it doesn't want to mess up its resource base to play Fogs. It's 10 out of 10, like the actual answer there. Yes, it would love to play the card Fog. No, it does not want to mess up its resource base, so it can. Okay, I want 3 cheap shots, and then some Dread Ends here, and cut these Lanupaw sites. Maybe I want more cheap shots than that. Actually, I'm just going to board in all the cheap shots. Our early pressure is what really kills us. I'd just like to say thank you to everyone that's hanging out here today. This is going to be our last match of the afternoon. We'll be going for about 4 hours. We played some Magic, and then we rolled in some Hex. I'll be back tomorrow morning with the same schedule, Magic League or 2, into some more Hexy time. We'll probably play some non-Storm decks tomorrow. I want to showcase the Reanimator deck that my team worked on for the CCS a little bit. It's really powerful and sweet. Get a little variety in our lives. But this is my favorite deck in the current constructed format, so I've been playing it a lot, but I like to get a chance to showcase a lot of different things on stream for sure. Alright, we're on the play this time. Syzygy on 1. Can't mulligan. Have our best card. Syzygy into Violet's Caress on 2 is actually really good. This hand really needs to draw a 3rd resource, but if we hit a 3rd resource, the Heart's Whisper guarantees us a 4th, and this hand's going to snowball really, really well. Diamond Ice. We're probably just going to play this and then pass the turn with Violet's Caress up, so that way we can kill a Righteous Outlaw if they play it. Well, if we draw a Slow Shard, we're probably going to do that and play Syzygy. Another Runebind, sure. Grab Blood here and pass the turn. They play a 1-drop that this kills, we'll kill that. Ding. Alright, so Violet's Caress deals a damage here, and then we gain a life. Yeah, they have a Scapegoat. I'm really glad I brought in all the cheap shots. And that's like the game plan against the aggressive decks with this deck, is you just want to like cut the Lanupaw sites because they're kind of slow. They reward us in the future and then board in some Board in some more cheap interaction to drag the curve down and be a little bit more interactive. We're probably runebinding any 3-drop they play here, just so our next runebind can be free. And then hopefully we hit a resource to play this Heart's Whisper. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and runebind this and keep it off the table, keep the pressure off. Theorize and Focus also likely find us a resource. Those would be good draws outside of a resource. Another 3-drop feels bad. And I've read this book before, so they're going to recast this. Ooh, they didn't. God bless. They get the Scapegoat back. I don't have a good way to kill that. I think we could have missed the resource for 1 turn and still possibly won this game, but having missed the resource for 2 turns probably means we're just too far gone. Opponent's draw is going to have to be pretty anemic from here on out for us to win this game. We have to hit like exactly Sapphire Shard or Well this turn, and then maybe we have a chance, but it's pretty unlikely from here on out. Transmogrifade. Yeah. That's a frustrating end of the stream. This deck is kind of low on resources, but like, in addition to not drawing resources, we haven't drawn Arcane Focuses or Theorizes, which are both cards that would help us find more resources, so... Opponent telling me I kept a bad hand. That's so rude. Like, my hand was fine and we actually just got genuinely unfortunate that game. Don't use chat to be a dick. Don't use chat to be a dick. Yeah, so the resource count in this deck is a little bit low. Let's play one more. Actual game in, hopefully. So, like, we kept 2 resources on the play. We missed on 3, 4, and 5. So that means there were 17 plus 8 reasonable cantrips in our deck. So there were 25 hits that we could have had that would reasonably propel us into shards. So that means we missed on 25 hits and 53 cards, you know, roughly for 4 draw steps. I wonder what the odds are on that happening is. So we're looking for, there were 53 cards in my deck. There were 25 we were looking for. We had 4 draws. We wanted at least 1. We're 90... Correct, yeah. Like, we hit the 3rd resource, we're guaranteed to get the 4th. So that's actually not that unlikely to happen. We're 93% to find one of those. That means we're 7% to miss, which is actually fairly high. So, like, 1 in 20 games, we're going to keep 2 resources on the play and miss our 3rd. It's actually pretty significant. Lazy math, 1 in 16. Yeah, yep, thereabouts. About 7%. I mean, my math was equally lazy, Burgle. We're playing against Allie. Is Allie streaming? If Allie's streaming, I'm going to hand y'all off to him afterwards. Playing Winter Moon. Looks like Allie is streaming. Sweet. And this hand only has 1 resource in it, and we don't have, it's not a Fate Weave Shard, and we don't have any Scries, so. So if you want to watch this match from both sides, twitch.tv/Allie Eldrazi, the same username as the person I play against here. Yeah, and this has 2 resources, one of which is a Blood Ice, so we're guaranteed our 3rd, so sign me up. guarantee our third resource here, which feels good. He could be playing some kind of Winter Moon combo deck, knowing Ollie, Burgle. It might not necessarily be the Winter Moon deck from the CCS. Got their second Sapphire. I think I just want to kill this. Actually, so I'm going to pass here, and I'm going to give Ollie the opportunity to counter my Violet's Caress, because I would rather resolve one of my 3-mana draw spells here. So I'm going to give them a chance to counter my win condition, so that way we're more likely to resolve one of these. Start with this one, see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets like Brown Fox Scout plus denied here. Again, he could also just be playing a combo deck of his own, in which case we're just in a race. Like Thunderfield Seer is a fine card in a combo deck. If they have Brown Fox Scout here, that tells us they're not in the combo deck, though. Yeah, it could be like the Monk combo. He did play a Coyotal Racial Shard at some point, so he probably has more troops decks. Makes me think he might be playing more fair than non. I'm going to play this, get a little bit better feel for what's the top of our deck. Okay, sweet. So I'm going to play this, and I'm going to play Heart's Whisper here for non-resource, since we already have a shard for next turn. Might counter this one. I'm not sure why you'd counter this one, but not counter the Lanupaw site. The Lanupaw site's basically draw 3. Yeah. Hi, buddy. You want to come sit by your papa? You want a different show? Deep Freeze by Thunderfield Seer. Sure. I will 10 out of 10 replay that at some point. Deal, sir. Must be some kind. It must be the Tempo Weed deck. Yep, I agree. Likely the control build if he's on Deep Freeze. I'm going to do this first. And honestly, I'm just going to play this one back out, right? Like, I could double block this dork. And, like, it re-prophesizes, so, like, side me up. This has a prophecy on it. None of these other ones do. 10 out of 10 double blocking. So put his 2 dorks back in his deck with his Winter Moon ability. It's a pretty good one. And we have a Runebind to protect it, so let's go ahead and play that. Man, he doesn't have any counters, huh? Focus first here. So I think... Thunderfield Seer is a good pickup. I'm going to go ahead and put a resource on top of my deck here, and then I'm going to hold up Runebind and Transmog here, I think. Do you want a different show? This isn't the one you want? You want Chuggington? You want Octonauts? Yeah? Yeah? Tranquil Seed Heart. Yeah, that's fine. I really just don't want him to Windsinger us next turn. If he draws one extra card, I think that's fine. I could Transmog this dork later. Like, I can block this with Thunderfield Seer down the line. There's a Violet's Caress. So this one does 2. So the next Violet's Caress is going to He's going to be able to kill this guy when he's flipped on Ali's turn. Let's focus here, see what we get. I know the Mysterious Druid's actually a great draw because it's going to let us win counter wars, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and transmog his... Oh, actually, I can Caress plus block his 5/3 this turn. That's actually really good, right? And then I have double Runebind to force this Caress through. So he's going to get to draw a card. But I'm likely going to be able to kill this anyways. See if he plays anything else out here. You have to have, like, Brown Fox Scout and a triple deny, or maybe some Runebinds of his own. And if we lose this fight, like, if he fights over this and we lose, we could probably just Ascend next turn. Oh, this one draws 2 cards. That's nice for us. Oh, that's true. Huh. That's smart. I guess he could theoretically draw cards on our turn, right? To, like, prevent that from happening. This is dealing 2. The next Caress will deal 3. But if we, like, take this off the table, I'm not super worried about it. I kind of want to hold this Transmog for a Windsinger. There's the deny. Oh! This was my mistake. I should have done this in response to this Thunderfield Seer, because he made his denies cheaper. That was a pretty big mistake on my part. So if he has multiple denies here, if he has 2 more denies, he's going to be able to push this through. And we'll be really sad about that, and that's 10 out of 10 my fault. So if I would have done this in response to this, they would have only had 4 resources up, and they would have done this. Yeah, so we're getting, like, multi-denied out of this game. And again, this Psychic Ascension might be able to just, like, forgive all of our sins and let us win the game anyways, but... Or he just might only have 2 denies, and we're just going to be in a super great spot regardless. Because, like, if this resolves, we're, like, 10 out of 10 jamming the Psychic Ascension next turn, because he probably doesn't have anything else to fight with. Typhoon Skyshaper, sure. Sure, you can pick that back up. I'm going to go ahead and generate my Oracle Song first here. And then play my Psychic Ascension out. And then play this, draw a card. Chant Power. Windborn Ascension, that's funny. Do I want to Transmog now? I don't think I do. I think I want to hold the Transmogs in case he has Windsinger next turn. In this for now. You're 0-5 with it. What are we today? We're 2-1 so far today. The aggressive matchups are challenging, but they're rewarding when you win them. I'm going to go ahead and Transmog this now. It might bring it down to the ground for us. Target you. Either mill some cards or get a 3/3. We're Brown Fox scouting me, sure. Oh, you know what? I should have done this before it attacked, because now he can play another Typhoon Skyshaper and bounce this one to his hand. There's a Windsinger. He does play those. 2 Windsingers, in fact. Gain 5. Put the Windsingers back in his deck, yep. Windborn Ascended end of turn here. No, it only creates standard legal cards. The only reason I have Oracle Song is from my, my what's it called? Tribunal Magistrate's a real good one to get. Runic Decay, also decent. This is going to make 2 4-drops. Oh, and we'd sacrifice a troop. Deal. Oh, he's going to sacrifice the one that I'm targeting here. Good line. Rough. Alright, so cast this Theorize. Will very likely flash this back. That's unfortunate. We'll bin a Syzygy for now. They could Windsinger me now, because I am tapped out. But I have 2 Transmogs to let me do it on my turn. And we might be able to fight through a Windsinger regardless because of the Psychic Ascension. Pipit, Hustler. I'm assuming this is hustling my Tribunal Magistrate. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Wicked Web Spawn, sure. There's the spider for the Tribunal Magistrate. Like, he's mostly just out of gas at this point. The Wrathful Seed Heart, which pretty much just kill him. This isn't quick, right? No, it's not, so he couldn't have played it on my end step. I'm gonna double up some blocks here. Put this here, and I'm gonna put everything in front of this, just preserve my life total. They're a pretty strong favorite to win this game from here. Give him Gladiator, yep. And put a resource on top of my deck, so I trigger this Runic Decay. This Runic Decay is going to cast, target that, make a Dorko. I'm going to play this, put a resource on top of my deck. Put a stop on Allie's ready step here, so I can play one of these Violet's Caresses during... Yeah, the Clock Hang bug. Alright, I gotta relog real quick here. Sorry about that. So, for whatever reason, the clock hangs occasionally when you click through, when you click off of that prompt in a weird way, the selection prompt, and pressing the auto pass key and anything doesn't tab through to where I have an option to continue playing things, and my clock just sits there and tick down. If that ever happens to you, you just relog, and then it sorts itself out, which is nice. Or are we an underdog to lose, right? Hopefully time doesn't matter this game. Time might reasonably be a factor. We're a minute up, so probably okay. I've got 6 resources here. Put a resource on top of my deck. And I think I'm just gonna... I'll hit this. I probably don't need this Syzygy at this point. Another Runic Decay. What are the odds? Alright, I put a stop on their turn, right? Yep. So we'll pass. We'll discard. I guess I could play the Syzygy. No, I don't think I actually want to play the Syzygy, because playing Syzygy with... Playing Syzygy with Psychic Ascension going is actually not a combo. Alright, kill your guy. And Deep Freeze by Woolsey Rabbit. Yep, he's gone. Oh, it drew a card. That makes sense. Why are we bouncing my Rabbit? My poor Widow Asqui Rabbit. Are you sure this is a combo deck, right? I mean, like, 3 of our 4 games have just been against other control decks, right? I'm pretty sure it's PA control. It's PA control with a combo finish, right? That's basically what it comes down to. These Runic spells are really good with PA, turns out. Alright, Caress Your Face. Make an Exarch of the Egg. Oracle Song a little bit. Make a Sky Spire Scholar, draw some more cards. Yeah. Writing is on the wall. Alright, so we get to cut these. We get to cut these, I don't actually know what we want to cut. I know I want these Withering Gazes, but I kind of need the Transmogrifades to interact with his Arborean Root Hearts and the Wind Singers, so I'm not sure... I'm not sure what I actually want to cut. It says every twin player, right? This is like a Storm combo finish as opposed to like a Twin combo finish, though. 62 card special. I don't... Maybe just cutting some Syzygies is fine, since we're more of a control deck in this matchup anyways. I don't hate that. We just kind of get to go into hyperdrive when Syzygy is going, though. Okay, yeah, or like, yeah, okay, so Burgle, you're with me. Like, is that above the board? Violet's Caress actually, like, kills his early crappers, and, like, getting it to 3 to kill the other thing seems fine. It might just be all of them, honestly. And then I can trim like one Transmogrifade. Oh, that's what I can do. Let the greed consume you. I'm gonna cut a shard. Cut 4 Syzygies on a shard. Now cutting a draw spell. Get out of here. You crazy. Do you want some peanut butter? Easy replace here, only one resource. Hey, only one resource, but a Fate Leaf Shard. Look at that. Gonna hit our first 3. Guaranteed. Cutting Theorize actually doesn't seem unreasonable. Actually, because, like, this matchup's not about speed. It is just selection. So, like, maybe if we get another game, we'll cut some Theorize, like, cut 3 Theorize, and, like, if we get a third game on the play, we'll cut 3 Theorize and bring back in 2 Syzygy in the Shard. Potato Donut! With the resubscription. Thank you very much. I appreciate the continued support. Welcome back. 7 months. It's a long time. This is going to be my last match of the day. Ali Eldrazi, who is Ali Andrazi, is streaming as well. It's who we're playing against right now. So if you want to watch this match on both sides, you can head over to his channel. And I'm going to be sending you all over there after I host. So that's a Theorize that draws a bunch of cards. I think I'm going to go ahead and just Lanupaw site here. He only has single Sapphire, so he has to have Verdict to counter this. And if he counters that, then he's not countering these. I'm not attacking with these because I don't think a potential 2 points of damage is worth him having a Brown Fox Scout and attacking me on the backswing. Awesome, yeah, the new set limited is kind of medium, but the new set constructed is just like the hottest of fire. It is a lot of fun. I'm just gonna cast a regular old Theorize to start here. They do have double Sapphire now. Withering Gaze. Alright, well, we're gonna bin that. And I think we're just gonna gaze since we missed a resource. They have a deny. This is probably eating the deny. Weave into nothing. Yep. Wow, they have a lot of counters. And now we can attack because they don't have Brown Fox out up. We actually only have 2 more troops in our deck to prophesize that Lanupaw site onto because we only play 4 troops, so like... Seedheart takes double wild. I'm going to go ahead and play this Bounty because it draws us a card guaranteed. I was hoping it would draw us a resource. This is probably going to get countered. There's a deny. And I'm going to keep attacking in here because unless there's a Brown Fox Scout on the very... Nah, I'm going to stay back. There could be a Brown Fox Scout on top of their deck. Next turn, if we miss a resource again, we're probably going to try and Bounty the Magus again. If we hit our resource, we'll probably Lanupaw's site. Alright, well now we're going to Heart's Whisper, because this is all we get to guaranteed hit our resource. Sure. You've turned my 1-1 into a different 1-1. Oh, and then you're denying. Okay, sure, so you've got pressure on the table, I guess. Makes sense. Yeah, Brown Fox Out's just like a card we can kind of afford to play around it, so I'm going to, is basically what it comes down to. Like, at some point, maybe we'll run him out of counters. Ideally, we'll go to turn where, like, if we draw Withering Gaze next turn, we can Gaze and then Theorize, which would be nice. Where's our Prophesize Shard? That would be really nice if we could draw a Prophesize Shard to draw us more cards. What an awkward game. It's like he's missing thresholds. He's just been punching me repeatedly with these while I'm trying to, like, draw cards to draw resources. There's a Verdict of the Ancient King, so we're through most of their counters at this point. Until they draw more, they get to put 2 back into their deck here. If they go, like, wild into Windsinger here, I'm just going to concede for the sake of time. Thunderfield Seer or Lanupaw or Sapphire Shard would be great. Alright, I guess let's start with that. Get it a resource. Oh, Sapphire Shard's not even slow. God bless. God bless us, everyone. Alright, try this Lanupaw sight on for size. As soon as something... The floodgates are now open. Like, that resolved, so that means all of our spells are going to resolve until he draws another counter. So probably lead on this next turn into this Theorize. Yeah, exactly. And we'll hopefully be out of counters by the time we cast PA. I agree. Ooh. Ooh, that's a good one. Running close to casting the Psychic Ascension too. Oh, you're nowhere close to casting your Psychic Ascension. We're a much better Psychic Ascension deck than they are. So much it's not even funny. It's kind of unreal how much of a better Psychic Ascension deck we are than them. So this will draw to the discard one, and then it'll draw 2 extra. So I'm going to bin this resource since we're going to draw so many more here. Ding, ding, ding. Not punished for being greedy. Alright, he's got 1 shot at drawing a counterspell here. And then we get to ascend otherwise. If he plays his other Pipit Hustler and wins the coin flip, he could kill all of our things here, but he's just trading for 3 of them, that's fine. Would y'all just jam the PA here? He had 1 shot. Like, he's only going to have a chance to draw more counters from here on out, right? I think I'm just supposed to jam this. And, like, if not, we could try and go for the long game afterwards. Ah! Ali! Ali! Alright. He had to hit it in the 1 draw. I think it's right to make him have it there. Without Syzygy's in our deck, we have more PAs in our deck too, right? Like we have his PA plus our other one, so we have 2 more PAs to draw to. Oh, this is prophesized. It's good to know. Yeah, I think it's right to just jam it. We have 2 more PAs in our deck. I agree. There are 2 more PAs in our deck. Man, so punished for not waiting. Unreasonably punished for not waiting. It's going to pass the turn up with this Bounty of the Magus. I don't want to leave Transmogrifade down because if he draws Windsinger, I need to be able to Transmogrifade that. Alright, so he can't play Windsinger at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and Bounty the Magus now in case he draws a counter. Gets our Bounty resolved, guaranteed. Oh, I guess he could have drawn a non-slow shard into Windsinger. That wasn't strictly correct what I just said. Yeah, he could draw resource into Windsinger. Put a resource on top here, so we just keep making our resource drops. At some point, we're going to snowball into another Psychic Ascension, and then we'll be able to Withering Gaze spot check before we play it. Yeah, we could just upkeep Transmog. Yep, that's correct. Ready step Transmog. Sorry. I don't believe he gets to draw a card off of this. Correct. Sweet. Bounty, draw 2. Looking for a Psychic Ascension, doo-dah, doo-dah. Looking for a Psychic Ascension, oh, the doo-dah day. Do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Camptown ladies sing the song. 2 damage, 2 damage. Dun 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 dun. Where is my PA? Where is my PA? Bum 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 ba dum bum. I'm just gonna do this now, I think. Nah, maybe I want to runebind something. I'm just gonna do this now. Let's get this in, and then this next one can kill this Shadowblade Slicer off. There's 2 PAs and 19 cards left in our deck here. We can runebind any interaction he might have on the chain for this next one. And like we're going up to 7 here. I guess he could theoretically kill us. I'm gonna do my Polybear Branch. Yeah! Upgraded me to a blocker. God bless. Kill this. Play Bounty of the Magus, looking for a Psychic Ascension. Man. Man. Think I'm just ditching these resources at this point? We did take his Psychic Ascension at one point this game, right? So there's 2 of them in these 15 cards. I'm just gonna runebind this. Sure. The good news is the PA is gonna be free when we draw it. Oh, that's awkward. Huh. Doing non-resource here. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Not quite the last card, but almost. Going to Withering Gaze here just to get the thing. We can also spot check them for anything they could possibly play next turn. Into the Unknowing, they're deny. Sure. What do you got? What shard listing did you generate over there? A resource. Ooh. Ooh, a piece of candy. Correct, yeah, -9. And our other one is going to be even... Allie's asking why this rune didn't go off when he got a resource. And the reason why, that's actually a really good question. So runes say whenever a resource enters your hand from anywhere, you cast the rune, but it didn't enter his hand as a resource. It entered his hand as a rune and then turned into a resource, which is a small difference, but an important difference. All right, yeah, that's fine. And then we're going to transmog this with double Runebind up to fight through whatever he could have in his hand. I should technically do this at the end step, because this could turn into a 5-drop with speed, I suppose. This matchup, it seems like it would be unlosable on paper. It definitely seems like it's working out that way in practice. Oh, lordy. I gave him a 5-drop with speed. Remember when I said I should wait till end of turn because I could give him a 5-drop with speed? Well, it happened. And he gets to take control of something. I didn't even do it in enter combat, so he can steal one of my things? Oh, lordy. Lordy, lordy, lordy. It's a good thing we're going to draw into... It's a good thing we're going to draw into a Violet's Caress to kill this here soon. Punished! Oh, I should have kept the Hatchery Priest because of machinations. Yeah, you're right. Negative 20, you say? I should make sure this isn't decking me. Yep, only 5. Ooh! Ooh, a Rune Snatcher! Don't mind if I do. I will take that Lanupaw sight. Thank you very much. So when Rune Snatcher comes into play, it grabs target rune and puts it into our hand. It's not so much that I want the Lanupaw's sight, as much as I don't want Ollie to have a Lanupaw's sight. That's what it comes down to. It's not that I need or want the Lanupaw sight, it's that Ollie's way to snowball his way back into this game involves... How many Underworld troops do I have? 1, 2, 3. So I should just take this and point it at his dome. No, I should leave Transmog and Runebind up here. Ollie's way to get back into this game involves drawing a bunch of cards. So in fact, I'm going to discard his ugly full art Lanupaw sight there to send a message. So I can't actually bounty the Magus at this point, because I'll deck. Lol. Windborn Ascension. So I have Dwarf, Shin Hair. What does this do? Death Cry. When you play an action, it gets bigger and it is flying? How much fun is that? This draws 6 cards, so I actually, again, can't play the bounties at this point. Or I'll lose the game. Hey, maybe I'm supposed to Machinations first here. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the Machinations actually kills him here. Have some spiders in your deck. They have to interrupt their weave into nothing with the halt. It's not optional. You have to play it. All right, that's what we can end the stream on. We were planning to end here anyways, but that was thoroughly beautiful and wonderful and everything that I wanted out of a game of Hex. All right, thanks everyone for watching. I'm gonna be shipping you over Ollie's way now. He's streaming some Hex with Wintermoon, so be good to him. We were just very rude.